Kings. God proves to Elijah that he is real.
Your word is a lamp to guide my feet and a light for my path. Psalm 119, verse 105.
The sun scorched down on the dry ground. Nearby, a crow was watching Elijah with one eye, waiting to see whether he would drop something that he could eat. The dry ground was cracked and heat waves made the air unpleasant to breathe in. The drought had caused a severe famine in Samaria.
King Ahab was a wicked king, and he did not serve the Lord. He and Jezebel killed all of God's prophets.
Today was an especially hot day, and Elijah, one of God's prophets who had survived, was on his way to Mount Carmel. Elijah sent a message to King Ahab and told him to bring 450 of his Baal prophets to meet him on Mount Carmel.
When he got to the top of the mountain, Elijah said to the people,
"How long will you be indecisive? If the Lord is God, follow him. If Baal is God, follow him."
But the people said nothing. Then Elijah spoke again and said,
"I am the last of God's prophets, but Baal has 450 prophets. Fetch 2 bulls, and let us make an offering. Place the meat on the altar, but do not light the fire. You call on the name of Baal, and I will call on the name of the Lord, the God who answers by fire. He is God."
The people were eager to see who would win, Baal or God, and agreed to Elijah's plan. Elijah said to the prophets of Baal,
"Choose one of the bulls and prepare it first, since there are so many of you. Call on the name of your Baal and ask him to light the offering with fire."
The prophets of Baal prepared their offering and spent the entire morning praying to their God.
"O Baal, answer us!"
They cried, but there was no answer. They danced around the altar, but nothing happened.
"Maybe your God is sleeping."
Elijah called to them.
"Shout louder, and you may wake him up."
The prophets of Baal kept praying toward their God, but there was no answer, and no one paid attention. When it was time for the evening sacrifice, Elijah told the people to come closer. He took 12 stones representing the 12 tribes of Israel and built an altar. He dug a trench around the altar, put wood on the altar, and prepared the bull for sacrifice. Then Elijah said to the people,
"Fill 4 large jars with water and pour it on the offering and then the wood."
3 times the wood and the offering and the altar was drenched in water, and it filled the trench. Then Elijah stepped forward. He lifted his hands in the air and prayed.
"Lord of Abram, Isaac, and Jacob, let it be known that you are God, and that I am your servant. Answer me, Lord, so that these people will know that you are God, and that they will then turn their hearts back to you."
Then the fire of God came down from heaven and burned up the sacrifice and the wood, the stones of the altar, the soil, and dried up all the water in the trench. When the people saw the fire from heaven, they fell down on their faces and cried,
"The Lord is God! The Lord is God!" God answered Elijah's prayers and demonstrated his power to the people. After this, God proved his faithfulness to his people, and it started to rain. The drought that lasted for 3 years was finally broken, and the land was restored.
God is faithful to answer those who seek after him with their whole hearts.
In this story, we discover that God is real.
Memorize. Your word is a lamp to guide my feet and a light for my path. Psalm 119, verse 105.